Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Issues, produced by the League of Women Voters of Richfield. Tonight, I'm very happy to have as my guests people from the Richfield Chamber of Commerce. And we've done this about once a year, where we just kind of check in with you guys and see how Richfield businesses are doing, and new plans, exciting times maybe. Who knows what the future brings, but we've done this before. On my immediate left is Angie Schaebauer. I hope I said that right. I'm German, I should be able to say it right. And you're the president?
Correct.
Of the chamber. That means you're there every day, Monday through Friday, most of the time.
Most of the time. I have a pretty flexible schedule because I'm constantly trying to meet with businesses and get out there, and so I have a call for an appointment on my door in case anybody wants to just pop in and I'm not there.
Okay, and then we have Gordy Ecklund.
Mm-hmm.
And Gordy, you're the parts manager at the Richfield Bloomington Honda. Got to have that in the right order.
Yep, parts manager at Richfield Bloomington Honda.
Okay.
I've been there 11 years and been with the chamber and was the 2013 chamber chairperson.
Okay, so you're almost done.
I am almost done.
And Jennifer Bornholdt, did I say that right?
Bornholdt.
Bornholdt. And you own Hub Jeweler.
Correct.
Or your family does, or you and your husband? Both?
Yes, my husband and I own it.
Okay.
I run it. He has a different
And you
job.
were the 2012 board chairman.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, my guests are used to me asking each one of you to kind of talk a little bit about yourself for a few minutes and how you came to be what you're doing now.
Okay.
Angie, let's start with you.
All right. So I am a small business owner, and I still maintain my business.
Oh, can I ask what it is?
Yes, it's called Extended Office, and I basically do for professional associations tasks that are similar to what I'm doing for the chamber. Typically not in a leadership role, but more of the back office running the organization.
Okay.
So the chamber kind of, when Steve decided to retire last year, I have a relationship with the placement agency that was doing the job search, and that's kind of how I landed at the chamber. It was temporary.
So you have quite a number of years of small business
I
type
do.
experience.
My business has been in existence since I retired from corporate America in 2001.
And do you want to say what part of corporate America?
I was in IT.
Oh, an IT person.
Right.
We're going to get into that maybe towards the end about IT and business.
Great.
I mean, obviously the changes are considerable back when I was younger. Okay, Gordy, how did you come to be parts manager and why Richfield Bloomington Honda?
Well, I actually went to school to be a diesel truck mechanic.
Diesel truck.
So started as a mechanic and technician in the field, and from there just kind of went to service advisor, been service manager, parts manager. I've been really, when I really started at a Honda store in Rochester. So I was there for 17 years, and now I've been at Richfield for 10. So Honda's really in my blood.
Yeah.
And so that's really how I got to where I am now.
Okay, and I think I probably have seen you because I'm there with my car periodically for oil changes and whatnot, so I might have run into you. Jennifer, what led you to jewelry and ownership of the store?
Well, I had some jewelry in my background when I was in college, and then after I graduated, I came back and worked for a store in Mankato. It was a privately owned store for a couple of years because I kind of had it in my blood, I guess. But I ended up getting out of it and went into corporate America. Worked with a lot of tier 1 retailers in software applications. And my husband and I were looking for a business opportunity to invest in primarily. And the jewelry store in Richfield happened to be something that came up on the list during that process. So we looked into it and decided to shift gears, and I left the job that I was doing previously to come and run this business. And had it not been an existing business that had been, in Richfield for such a long time, it's something that we wouldn't have pursued. But obviously there was a nice tradition and legacy that was already built, and it just kind of made sense for us. So I've been doing that since 2004,
2004. How long had Sub Jewelry?
since 1959.
59.
Yep.
So has it always been in the hub?
It's always been in the hub, yes. It used to be a couple of doors down and then moved into this larger spot in 91, I believe, in the early 90s.
So it's one of the originals
Yes,
to the hub.
it's been there for a very long time.
It's been around a lot. And the owners have always been family-owned type
Yes.
of business?
Mhm. There was a family that owned it for a little over 40 years. They sold it to someone in 2002 who had it just a short time until I bought it from him in 2004.
Okay.
So not a lot of owners, but I hope to continue to do it for the long length of time that the original family had it.
Can I ask how many employees you have, just so people get a sense of
I have-
what it takes to run?
Yeah, I have, not including myself, I have 4 full-time employees and about 4 regular part-time employees, and then a couple of other people that we can call during the holidays or when somebody is on vacation or that type of thing. But I have a full-time goldsmith, a manager, 2 full-time salespeople, and then the other folks are part-time salespeople, and my watchmaker works. She works out of my store, but on a contract basis. So lots of bodies in there all the time.
Now, obviously, your competition is the chains,
Kind of.
quite a bit. What do you feel that a locally small business owner can offer people? Feel free to tout your business, but what do you offer, do you think, that the chains can't?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is service, and that's, whether it's a chain store as a competition or online possibly as a competitor too, because we've been there for so long. People trust us. Our repair business is significant, so people trust us to leave their things there and let us work on them for them. And we just are about building relationships. I was just telling someone the other day how it's nice for people to come into the store and be called by name. And I can't think of a lot of places that I go to, that you walk in and people say, "Hi, Jennifer," So it really is about relationships and, getting to know your customers. And price is a differentiator between us and the chain stores too. Chain stores tend to have their prices marked up higher so they can discount significantly, and that's not the approach that we have. So we sell everything at a fair price.
Yeah, fair price, and if you can pass along any savings, you
Right.
will.
Right. I think that a lot of people that shop at chain stores primarily are younger people too, but where we draw the younger crowd is from generations that have shopped at our store, grandparents and parents, and then they bring in their kids to shop. And there's a lot of them out there that want to buy their ring where mom and dad got their ring. So that's kind of nice.
Kind of nostalgic,
Absolutely.
almost romantic.
It is. And the expressions, that the moms and the grandparents and stuff get when they come in and talk about their experience, you got to hit the right crowd there. But there's definitely a lot of them out there that believe in that. So it makes it
So
fun.
you've probably seen, I think as, obviously the diamond ring and the engagement rings and stuff, there's a lot of good feelings that happen in your store, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then exactly what does a parts manager do? Is it just counting nuts and bolts?
My title is parts manager. I kind of do what I need to do for the store, just because my background, I do wear several hats. But we do rural parts manager is really going to be in charge of ordering what parts are we going to bring into stock, how soon do you bring them in, how many do you stock, count inventory and make sure your inventory is correct. So you want to have your parts in stock when your customer's coming in the door, ideally.
Okay.
So, but other than that, with our new facility build, I get involved in that a little bit as far as layout, a little bit as far as the direction of that's going, and some of that, which is very exciting, and it's definitely a learning experience.
Well, as long as you brought it up, let's talk about what the whole thing, the whole new construction piece for Richfield Bloomington Honda. Tell us exactly you know, how big you guys are going to be and which side of the street you're going to be on. I was on the planning commission. I saw the things, but I'm still confused. So go ahead,
Okay.
enlighten me.
Well, it's probably 3 main phases that we're going. The first phase really is as we tore down our used car building
The used
that was
car,
there
which was
on the north side
Side
of our
of your
block.
thing.
Yep.
So the closest to 77th.
Correct. That
Okay.
building was tore down. The building that we're putting in there is actually for our sister store, Richfield Bloomington Mitsubishi. So they'll be moving over.
Oh, they're moving from Bloomington.
Yes. So that really is going to be phase 1.
Okay.
And that's the building that's actually underway as we speak.
So people driving, that's what they're going to
Yeah.
see.
So
They drive in
we're somewhat hid behind that construction, but we're still there and open definitely. Phase 2 really is going to be the old Lametries building,
which is on the
77th.
west side.
Yep.
Okay.
Because they just moved into their brand new facility that's just on the east side of where we're at.
So they moved block and a half, 2 blocks, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of right in front of the Candlewood
They're
area.
the ones in front of the Candlewood.
Yep.
Then.
So they're in
Okay.
their new facility. The old Cornell building, the old Tires Plus building, and the USA Baby building. Those 4 buildings will be torn down to make room for our new store.
And that's the new car?
That'll be the new Honda franchise.
Okay.
Those should be tore down by springtime, and our construction, our facility will actually start this spring, so it's on the Honda store. That's going to be it's currently laid out as a 2-story facility, just because the space is limited as far as what we can have. It's going to be close to,
Drive the cars up?
there'll be a ramp that goes up to the 2nd floor, so we'll have a 2nd floor service facility. There'll be approximately 50 service stalls, where right now we run 23 in our current, but then we have 5 in the Cornell and 4 in the Tires Plus and 2, so it'll be actually a lot more together and much more efficient. And it will be about 100,000 square feet total in the new facility.
So the new car showroom will be on the 1st floor?
Yep, there'll be a new car showroom on the 1st floor.
And then the changing oil and repairs on the 2nd?
That'll be actually on the 1st and 2nd.
So 2.
Out on 77th Street, you'll have, is where the show floor will be.
Okay.
That'll be 2 stories. We'll have basically main office upstairs, training room upstairs, and we're looking at hopefully we can let like Boy Scouts use that training room for a conference room, and some of the local type organizations could also use that if it works in a perfect world.
How big is that? I know an organization that could use that.
Well, I'm thinking of another one too.
So, but like I say, it's kind of because we're probably in the mid-state of the planning station plans on it for the phase on that. So once we get Mitsubishi underway, then we'll get back to the Honda plans and probably have a few more tweaks. It's like never-ending changing on how much you should do or how much you shouldn't do. But our current facility was built in '86. I mean, it's by car standards, it's an old facility. So it'll be definitely nice to be state-of-the-art and a new facility.
Well, your current service place, what happens to that then? Does that get torn down and what goes in place there? or
Actually,
is
that's
that just car lot?
in that's actually phase 3.
Oh,
so
I'm
once
sorry.
we're in ours,
We're not there yet, okay.
then that actually will get tore down. Originally, it'll end up being parking lot, but within 5 years, that'll probably end up being parking ramp, solely to just give us more space to park more cars that are for sale and kind of get everything to one location, because now we have a spot in Bloomington where we store additional cars and employee parking, and parking is sometimes a challenge, so we will eventually
All be together.
be together in one location, which will be great.
Well, that is really exciting. I mean, what a big addition to Richfield. I mean, we have had, well, obviously Shops of France, not Shops of France, Shops in Lindale, and the whole area there between 35W and Lindale was all brand new, relatively speaking. And then we had Menards, which was a huge development, and then now we have you guys. So that's quite a change along 494.
And like I say, it's, you know, Lametry's new facility right there as well, right in that same area.
they've
So, I
got
mean,
their new
it's,
place, yeah.
will be a big change and a big plus, I think, for the city.
Oh, yeah. Very
It's
nice.
a huge statement. You know, I think for these companies to be making these significant investments in Richfield makes a statement, a very good statement.
And a very good one. And you mentioned a little bit that an example of Richfield Bloomington Honda wanting to reach out to the community too. And obviously you're, Tim Carter, I don't know if he's exactly your boss, but
Yes,
you
he
know,
is.
that
Just state that for the record.
dedication to the city that they find themselves in, I think is just something that us as Richfield residents can be proud and honored. And that speaks to, let's chat about the chamber a little bit, because you serve Richfield very well.
Thank you.
So tell me about the chamber. You know, for someone who really doesn't know what a
Right.
chamber of commerce is or does,
Okay, so
speak forth.
well, this chamber has a strong tie to the community. It's been in existence since 1955, a significant fixture in the community. I've been in my position for about 14 months. Yeah, 14 months. And prior to me, Steve Lindgren was president for 20 years.
Yeah,
So, I mean, again, tremendous legacy, tremendous commitment to the community and the business community specifically. So what does the chamber do? Every chamber is different. You have chambers at the United States level, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. You have the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. And then most communities, many communities, have their own, some have area chambers of commerce where there are multiple communities under one umbrella, and then others have stayed independent. So Richfield is an independent chamber of commerce supporting the Richfield community. But we welcome businesses from everywhere because business knows no boundaries, and especially in this global world, you know, anybody can be a chamber member of any chamber.
I guess I wasn't aware of it. I just assumed that everybody who is a Richfield chamber member had a business in Richfield, but you're right. I mean, I certainly know I travel
Right.
to Edina, Minneapolis, and points elsewhere
Exactly, yeah.
for businesses.
Right. And so for Richfield, in the last 14 months, we've really focused on leveraging technology, expanding our reach, and we developed a mission through some strategic planning this year. Do you guys know what the mission is? They know what the
Not
mission
word
is, but
for
they're going to
word,
let
but I
me
know
say
the
it. No, the mission for our chamber is to connect businesses and create a prosperous Richfield. That's ultimately what we're trying to do. And so we've put a lot of our resources and time and energy into a significant enhancement to our website. And what that means for Richfield business owners is, number one, we have an online directory that is for all Richfield businesses. It's not just for our chamber members. Chamber members get some special bells and whistles on the website, but all businesses in the 55423 zip code for sure are included in that directory.
And that's a lot of resources for...
Exactly, and so we're trying to create as kind of a one-stop shop concept where if we use our investment of Google AdWords and search engine optimization the right way, when somebody says, I need a haircut in Richfield,
oh, I see.
the Richfield Chamber, whatever businesses that are under haircut in our directory, they're going to come up first in Google. Because I think the percentages are like over 90% these days that people search online before they look anywhere else.
My goodness. Mm-hmm. It's somebody who goes back to the days of slide rules and science. This is just incredible. I never thought about it that way. That,
Right.
You know, I mean, I had my hairdresser forever, so I'd have no need to. But
Right.
for somebody moving into the area, they obviously
Right.
would need to go. And I guess you're right. That the old yellow pages is kind of a thing of the past.
Everything changes, and you got to use what you have, right? And so when that's where a significant number of consumers are looking for business information, we're going to use that, and we're going to use it to our advantage and help our Richfield businesses grow and prosper.
Okay.
I think that's touching on the geography side of it. My business, and I know your business too, draws quite a bit from outside of Richfield. So as we work as a chamber to build a better business environment for the community, we're drawing in a lot of people from outside of Richfield, that are coming.
And great
that are
example of
coming
that is
here.
Cedar Point.
I was just going, I would bring that
Right.
up.
I mean, that area draws tremendous numbers of consumers from South Minneapolis, Linden Hills area.
Probably even St. Paul. I mean, there's
Yeah, I
certain
bet so.
areas
Sure.
of the western side of St.
Right.
Paul along the Mississippi that's the closest Target, Home Depot, even Menards has got to take in all those areas.
Exactly.
Because I think the closest Menards is way up north side of Minneapolis, maybe not even in Minneapolis, the northern suburbs. And you probably, the Honda dealership, I know they're in west of 100, maybe even west of 169, and then south of the river probably.
We go, it's about 10 miles in any direction to get to another Honda dealer, so, I mean, it's, we definitely have our large area that we can draw from. It's a very highly populated, and a reason to come to town. And like I say, the stronger the chamber and the stronger the city gets, the more people have something to come for. So if they're coming to buy jewelry and they happen to drive by my store, and all of a sudden they don't need a car that day, but now all of a sudden they're back, and all of a sudden when they are in need, they know of us, and at least then we get shopped and get a chance. I mean, the stronger the whole chamber can be and the whole community can be, the more traffic we do generate to help one another.
And is there something, I know, like they say to you, if you keep your home nice and your neighbor keeps your home nice and the neighbor next to that, that adds to the home value for that block.
Absolutely.
We see this in business too, where you start some of this movement, like I'm thinking 77th Street, where Menards on the east maybe, and Shops at Lindell on the west, and you in the middle kind of, that adds to everything.
Exactly.
Same thing with you in the hub, when that gets a new client, it just brings in a new bunch of people.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. That's just fantastic. Oh, this is exciting.
It's very exciting. I mean, it's a tremendously exciting time in Richfield all around. I mean, there's just so much going on. As an outsider coming into town and not knowing a lot about Richfield, I was tremendously surprised when I exited off of the crosstown and came down Lindale, and I was very curious as to what exactly was going on here.
Well, let's just talk about Central Richfield and some of the new things that have been going on. Let's see, if we talk about north of 66th Street, probably the first one was that a new apartment complex. And were you around when that all started? Was that in your?
The one
Right
on
by
Lindell?
Lakelands?
Yeah, kind of across the street in,
I think it's
north
called Lindell
of
Plaza.
LA Fitness there.
Right.
Those have only been there for
Yeah,
2 years.
I mean,
2
max.
years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of the first things that went up. I think that what I remember from somebody saying at the Planning Commission meeting, that was the first apartment building that came with a dishwasher built in.
Wow.
Wow. Who knew?
Yeah, I mean, if you look around Richfield, we have lots and lots of apartments.
Right.
But it was the first apartment building.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your senior over 55
Sure.
complex, City Bella and Lakeshore Drive and some of those, but that's a little bit different than just
Right.
market plain ordinary rental. So, and then LA Fitness. And let's see, I heard that there were some new businesses going into there. Do
Correct.
you remember what it is?
Firehouse Subs is already opened.
Which one?
Firehouse Subs.
Firehouse Subs.
So we're
Okay.
talking about right by LA Fitness, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So Firehouse Subs is in there. We will be having a Von Hansen's in the spring,
Von Hansen's.
the
What
meat market.
Oh my goodness, we haven't had that for a heck of a long time.
Right.
Old-fashioned meat market.
Yeah, and delicious too. And then a high-end salon called Salon Concepts.
Okay.
So those are the confirmed tenants that we know of so far.
Okay, and I know they want to get a new restaurant in that corner
Correct.
too. So
Right on the corner. Nothing's been, they're still working on it,
okay.
but nothing's
be a
been
little bit-
signed, so they can't talk about it, so.
Well, no. But does the chamber, like you guys, do you kind of be available for any new business to talk to you about the climate in Richfield and what goes on, and has that happened?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we do it naturally as a chamber, but as a business owner, it's important to me to stay in touch with what's going on in the community, particularly from a business standpoint and new businesses and that type of thing. So it gives me a better pulse on, you know, what to expect and who to market to for my own business. And it all comes back to what we do here.
Right.
You know.
The chamber is kind of, I figure it like a hub. And we're building strategic partnerships with the schools, with the city, with, what are our other partners?
Well, those are the
Those are the
those
big
are the
ones.
big
City,
three.
schools,
Put those three together.
Yeah, city, schools, and then we have a
business.
great tourism and promotion board that is really focused on filling our hotels, but in addition to that, promoting Richfield as an area, restaurants, shops. There's so many boutique shops and things of that nature. So we have some programs that we're developing that are going to target large companies that do business in Richfield, but for whatever reason, they're not aware of the hotels in Richfield, and so they always stay over at like a Highway 135. So if we do some targeted marketing to those larger companies that we know are bringing in business travelers, not only will they stay in our hotels, but then we can start promoting our restaurants and say, well, while you're here, you know, go over to Potbelly and go over to Chipotle and all, you know, all these different places. So.
Well, and that's another thing to mention when you mention hotels, because Candlewood Suites by you guys just did their big remodel in 2012, because we had an event there in August last year.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful, beautiful, and they have a lot of long-term residents, I would call them, that come and stay at their place. And then
4 Points has
Four
just done
Points by
tremendous
Sheridan,
amount.
they've done a
I
lot.
was looking at that from the outside, so they've done some.
Oh, yeah.
From the inside, it's been redone also.
Completely redone.
Great restaurant, bar.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. I guess I'm going to have to open the door and put my head in there. You know, since I live in Richfield, I have no need to stay in a
Exactly,
Richfield
exactly.
hotel, but for people coming into town. Wow. Well, that's good. Yeah. And then, well, I'll get to that later. I'm going to ask what, you know, if you guys are lobbying for the tunnel underneath Cedar. So we'll get to that too later. So we've got LA Fitness, and that's done well. But that kind of meant that Bally left the hub. So the hub kind of sits there, kind of needing a few
Tenants.
more. Are you trying to convince some people to come into the hub?
You know, that's what we're trying to do. It goes back to those relationships. The chamber really can't lease property and make stuff happen, but we can definitely be aware of what's available and direct people to the right channels on who to talk to about those different properties. I mean, again, it's developing relationships, and we have an economic development branch of the chamber where Tim Carter, who is, as we mentioned previously, Gordy's boss, and Pat Brecken, president of the Richfield Bloomington Credit Union. There are two main kind of committee members. And we have formed something also called the Richfield Business Council, which is an opportunity once every 6 weeks or so. It's a very loose meeting, but it involves the city council, our economic development team, anybody really that wants to attend it, and then the schools and public works and all those players that are independently working in their own kind of silos, and it's real easy to get focused just on what you're working on. But this brings everybody around a table where we can have a conversation, and what are you working on, and what are you working on? Now, what can we do together that's all tied together so that everybody kind of knows what's happening in the other areas, and again, kind of leading down to this tunnel, perhaps, but that's where the tunnel conversation is really developing.
Okay. Well, before we do that, let's talk about the other side of Linda, the west side of Lindale and 65th, kind of, maybe 64th too. We've got a foods place coming in, Lake Winds
Natural Foods.
Natural Foods. Somebody talk about that a little bit.
Oh, it's going to be so nice. It's going to be so nice. And again, tremendous investment in Richfield by the Natural Food Company coming here. It's going to have all kinds of, it's an organic food place, organic food grocery store. But you just hear the chatter about it. And again, it's that South Minneapolis area that they really have to travel great distances. And this is people are very excited about that store going in. They have a great coffee shop that's going to be inside from a local Minnesota company called Peace Coffee, P-E-A-C-E Coffee. I'll be meeting with them next week. And, it's just, again, just the energy and the excitement that sort of development brings to town is tremendous.
And I know the parking lot's already done. And they're starting now working on the building itself.
And they just had a really nice winter solstice celebration, and they had a really good turnout for that.
Oh, good, good. And then also, as a part of that property, I believe there's going to be apartments.
Correct.
Maybe condos, but maybe a mixture of both there that are going to be north of the food place and then extend to the east on the north side of Richfield Lake.
Right, with some beautiful lake views.
Oh, good. And any other small business going in there?
I think there's going to be room for additional retail going in there too.
Okay.
Haven't really heard anything on that yet.
Maybe an amphitheater? I mean, there's going to be
They're
kind
talking
of a
about
little
a small
park area.
Correct.
Oh, that'll be really cool.
Right.
Yeah, that really adds. I mean, if you think about 66th Street, it's kind of our downtown. 66th and Lindale, that'll really be nice. Although I think 77th at Lindale, it's kind of could be considered a southern downtown.
Richfield actually kind of has quadrants.
Yeah.
There's different areas of focus at different times. Penn Avenue has a lot going on over there. A lot of boutiques and a lot of the smaller mom and pop type retail establishments. Arcs Value Village, been there for 30 years.
And they just put on a whole new front,
Yeah.
which I thought.
Oh, they remodeled
boy,
the inside too. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you don't really think of a consignment store trying to look nice, quote unquote, but they're doing a nice job.
It's beautiful.
And it complements the CVS that's a new building too.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that tunnel.
Let's talk about the tunnel.
Somebody want to explain what we're talking about?
You're more versed in it than I
Okay, so
am.
basically what it is, because everybody seems confused about what this concept is. So if you picture 77th Street in Richfield, it dead ends at Cedar, and then it goes west. The idea is, and it's similar to American Boulevard in Bloomington, that quadrant right by Cedar in 77th where it dead ends is just apartments at this point. There is considerable effort going into this concept of the tunnel, which would go under Cedar and directly connect to the airport. So it's a huge development opportunity. It would totally reshape that entire corner of Richfield. And
Which needs reshaping.
it could use a little freshening.
Yeah.
And so again, you think about it, and it just the ideas and the possibilities are huge. The chamber holds quarterly events called beer events, and people get real excited when they hear beer, but unfortunately there's no beer at the beer events. It's our multi-chamber events, Bloomington, Edina, Eden Prairie, and Richfield. So we each host, and so the last one we had was in November, and Bloomington hosted at a Mall of America Phase 2 expansion discussion. And the developers were there talking about it, and they're talking about doubling the size of the Mall of America, which is already happening, and they're doubling their international customers. So you already know about 494 and what traffic's like on 494. Now you're talking about doubling international visitors. The question was raised, how excited would Mall of America be if we had a tunnel that directly connected from the airport? And the Mall of America said on the microphone
We won.
they would be very excited about that.
Which is good, because you need some help from the legislature for bonding. on that.
Exactly.
And, you know, the audience should know that that's nothing new. That way back when Martin Sabo originally got the money for 77th Street, which was done before American Boulevard, that was the final phase
Right.
of it, was to, so there would be essentially a whole circular thing, both sides of
Right.
494.
Right. And then there were some shifts, and
Yep.
it didn't happen.
And it didn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so important, I think, to have that. And I think it's just a regular travel. I mean, as per people in Richfield, we want to get to the mall, and it's so awful to try to get on 494.
Yeah, don't go on 494.
60-seater.
Just stay
And
off
the
of
other thing
494.
is, when 494 has construction, it's terrible.
Oh.
And this would at least let all the locals have access to something on the north side.
Right.
So I mean, it would be a huge benefit to relieve 494 pressure, especially during construction times. But that would help, the tunnel would be an immense improvement.
And so,
Well,
and the city is working really hard too to make sure it's shovel ready, so that, you know, the funds may not be there anytime in the near future, but once they do appear and magically show up, then everything's in place, and all they have to do is start.
Start working.
Right. So Steve Devich, city administrator, and Mayor Debbie are working really hard to make sure that that project is shovel ready when the time comes.
And that's important. I mean, I just think even on a night like tonight, when we got some snow, 494 is crazy and probably unsafe.
Right.
But to be able to get to the mall, for people coming from Edina, you know, let's say they're shopping at Southdale and they don't find what they need, they want to go to the mall, and then I have to fight that 494 traffic. I
Right.
guess they could go across to American Boulevard, but that's going to fill up too.
Right.
And we should get some of it since we're first.
You know, and it's even people, you know, if you have to go to the airport, it's a whole new
Yes.
avenue to the airport.
Yeah, and especially Terminal 2, which used to be the
Yes.
Humphrey.
Right.
That would be great.
See, it's all good. It's all positive. We just gotta make it happen.
So business people are going to be contacting legislators. It helps that the speaker used to represent Richfield.
Right.
So, and the chamber is part of that lobbying group. That,
You know, as soon as we're called upon, we will be very vocal about it.
okay. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, we've talked about Lindale, and we've talked a little bit the Menards store. That turned out to be beautiful. Any comments from you guys? I mean, kind of happened under your watch, Jennifer, right? Or-
I don't know. To me, it kind of happened quietly, though. All of a sudden, you know, it was there. The construction went really quickly. It's obviously a great location for them, a good draw for Richfield, bringing in people from Bloomington and South Minneapolis to be able to come there too. And a little bit of competition for Home Depot, which seems to make those two businesses thrive. You know, both of them tend to constantly push each other that way.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, if there's a Home Depot, there's a Menards,
Right.
fairly close, and vice versa. And
Right.
you would think that would be bad, but apparently not, which kind of...
Competition's good.
And obviously having then Cedar Point, you know, they're trying to get that, more and more of the little shops are filling up at Cedar Point.
A lot of them. And I think some of them that don't get noticed very much are the ones between Target and Home Depot, because we've done like ribbon cutting at Anytime Fitness there. And actually, we've done lots of ribbon cuttings along
what-
the
oh,
restaurants there.
Murphy's and Noodles.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I go to Target or Home Depot and my focus. I don't. So you said something's in between the two of them.
Anytime Fitness is right there between the two
Anytime
of them.
So you
It's a
can
great
pop in there
facility.
and get your workout done.
Oh, yeah, running around Target seems to satisfy
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then Noodles is now over there, you said?
Noodles is actually over, if you're looking at Target, it would be on the south side. So over by TCF.
And
the-
Papa Murphy
Murphy's.
went in
Murphy's.
there?
Murphy's,
Yeah.
Chipotle, Caribou, the Fannie Mae shop, a hair shop.
And then maybe this is a no, we can talk about it because we're in Bloomington at the Bloomington Cable. But we can talk about the fact that we've attracted some businesses from Edina, from the west side of France. We've got Schmidt Music now in Southdale Square. That was nice. And then the the shoe repair guy from Southdale ended up on Penn, and my goodness, he had nothing but good to say about being in Richfield.
Wonderful.
Well, and that's one thing that, Angie, you're probably the most versed about it. With everything they've done on Penn, you touched lightly on it, but it makes me think of it now that you mentioned the shoe repair place, and CVS and Arcs Value Village and Devani's is new there in the last couple of years also. But there is a lot of excitement in business along Penn Avenue, and the group that they have put together in Penn Fest that they've done in conjunction with the city for the last 2 years. I think that there's a lot going on there that not everybody necessarily pays attention to or knows about.
Yeah, the Penn Fest. Now, the Chamber, were you supportive of that?
Absolutely.
Involved in that?
Absolutely. Anything that can bring 7,000 people to Richfield in one day, yes, we support that. Absolutely.
Because that was really kind of an idea, it's just for people that don't know. I mean, on, what is it, September 2nd or 3rd Sunday of September, we just closed Penn Avenue from Crosstown to 76th, I believe.
Correct. It's part of the Dewtown initiative, so they got a grant for that. And yeah, it's just an opportunity to showcase Richfield businesses and nonprofit groups and just to kind of get out and enjoy Penn Avenue.
And one of the hopefully more nicer weekends of the year before the snow hit.
Exactly.
And another thing that seems to be generating excitement all over the metro area, and we hear more trails, more walking, more biking trails. Richfield wants to be a biking destination, or at least interchange, where people ride the bike for some of our little stores and pick up things and ride the bike back home. What has the Chamber been involved with any of that?
The Chamber primarily is just there to promote. So every avenue that we have, we're here to get the word out. And so the City of Richfield received a designation as a bike-friendly city, and it's only one of 10 in the entire state to receive that designation.
Oh, my.
That's a big deal. So we have to get that word out.
And so for businesses, obviously you're not so involved with the bike part. But like the hub provides bike parking and things like that, bike racks, or is there a movement to provide more?
Well, there will definitely be movement to provide more. And with some of the development that's going to be taking place on 66th Street, I don't know if development is the right word, but some of the changes that are going to be taking place with the road and making space for bike paths and sidewalks and things like that, you're going to definitely see a lot of that being available. A couple of years ago, when you talk about bike paths and people getting around, I tend to think of Wood Lake and back there. So US Bank moved their headquarters here too, and we did an event at US Bank as a chamber. They hosted, I don't even remember what they called it, but it was a couple of years ago, and it was basically a business fair, and we all got to go in and set up a table if we wanted to and interact with, what do they have, 12? How many thousand people do they have working there?
I thought it was like 400. Maybe it's more than
that. No, it's more than that.
Okay.
It's significant. There's quite a few. But those are people that used to be based in other parts of the Twin Cities that are now in Richfield because that's where their corporate offices are. I know a lot of people that work there. So they come to work here, and we went in to let them know about Richfield and all of the opportunities that they have, not just from a business perspective, but from a community and getting out during the day. They're geographically close to that to be able to walk down, loop around the lake, like people would do over at Centennial Lakes in Edina and that type of thing. So there's definitely that interaction going on between business and the city and being able to promote that type of thing.
And you brought up infrastructure indirectly by talking about what's going to be going on at 66th Street. For our audience, 66th Street is going to be totally redone.
Correct.
They're going to go down to the ground almost and they're totally redo it, and there'll be changes. And that kind of brought up to the fact that for business, the infrastructure is so important. I think about, we did 77th Street, and look at all the things that happened once that nice, fast, kind of almost a parkway type thing was done. And now we're doing 66th Street. Talk about the infrastructure in business to anybody who wants to do that, the importance of it. Maybe it's so
You're the
self-evident.
transportation guy.
I mean, the infrastructure is very important to be in place. Businesses as they tear up the streets in front of you, it is cumbersome, it is a hassle for your customers. You just have to make sure you stay out in front of them, let them know you're there. But it's short-term pain for long-term gain, and that's really what you have to realize. As long as the vision's there and you see where the end of the process is and what the overall plan is, it's a solid thing. You just want to make sure when you do it right, and only have to do it one time.
Yeah. So that obviously, hopefully with the redoing of 66th Street, we will have more interest in like the hub. And then also, people talk about that maybe there's a little decline in the quality of business and development as we go maybe from Portland to Cedar Point, that we would like to freshen that up a little bit. Is the Chamber interested in that too?
There is a lot of business down there and a lot of opportunity for, the city offers a lot of great programs for people to come in, residential and business, to tear down, rebuild, or enhance existing buildings. So it would be great to see more of that. And again, I think it's all a trickle down or a domino effect. Once you start seeing something like we saw in Lindale, you start seeing that happen, and it's just going to naturally roll out and enhance by a ripple effect.
Yeah. I mean, Richfield's old enough that, back in the 50s when Hub Jewelry started, there was one thing, there was that Godfather's restaurant and some of these really old pictures that you look at. So, we have totally redone our areas as time.
Great example, too, is the Bridgman's and its conversion to Pizza Luce. What a tremendous investment that Pizza Luce made in Richfield.
Right.
And converting that property. Again, that was before my time, but I understand it was vacant for a while.
Yeah,
was.
I mean, you were chair when Pizza Luce,
When they were going in.
they were getting ready to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to when I came in 2004 in my business. So Bridgman's was closed then, I believe.
Yes.
Pretty sure it was sitting empty at that time.
And then there's more diversity in terms of the types of business. We've got Hispanic stores, and again, that's something that's you guys encourage, right?
Absolutely. Did you know that Richfield is 20% Hispanic Latino population?
I didn't know it was that high. I
It
knew
is.
it was beginning to get there.
Right. And so, I mean, that's a huge population of business owners that we would love to engage in conversation and attract but also help them with their business. They have such great businesses and just tremendous success stories. Would love to engage more Latino businesses in the chamber.
Now we've got one on, what is it, near the ice arena, that next business to the east.
I was just there. And I cannot think of the name of it, but I was
Right.
just there about 2 weeks ago.
Not Cinco de Mayo.
No.
That's farther down.
Yeah.
But
No, it's
great
directly
story.
across the street,
Yeah, and
just to the south of there is what I was thinking.
And he expanded the store a little bit, I think, or did something.
Aside from
singing?
having a market, they also have a restaurant in there.
Yes.
And you can go in and get takeout food, which is what I went in there for, to pick up some guacamole. And that was my first time in there. I was referred by somebody else. And you can go in there during lunch and sit down and eat, or get some food to go, as well as shop the market too.
And then there's one that would be the southwest corner of Nicollet and 77th.
Seventh, yep.
Your
I've
clients,
frequented
so
that place.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the same. You can do shop, or you can go in and have takeout to go, or sit in the restaurant. And I call it the old Embers location, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's very
Very
good, authentic Mexican.
And then we've got, what, Taco Bell was it that went
Yeah.
into by Menards there after
hero.
all the controversy about that?
Right.
And that's good. And even Kentucky Fried Chicken, you know, there wasn't too much time, and lo and behold, we had another place there.
Popeyes now.
Popeyes, that's it.
The new Mediterranean restaurant down on
Yeah, Aida.
66.
Aida down on
66th
it was
and Penn.
was that a
It was
Taco Bell?
it was Taco Bell, I believe.
Right on Penn and 66.
Oh, Aida, yes.
Oh, good Mediterranean food.
Yep.
Delicious.
Yep, I've been there. It's good. So that's just all very exciting to have this going on. And then a few remaining minutes, we kind of talked to, you were an IT person. Computers and the technology have made a tremendous difference in how we do things. I mean, gosh sakes, now we have computerized cars. I mean, you know, the people servicing them now have to know quite a bit about how computers run and operate.
I mean, it's definitely advanced from years ago, and I mean, you know, I look at in the 30 years I've been in the business where cars are, and I wonder where it's going to be in 30 more years, because you wonder how can they change that much.
We won't be driving the car.
Yeah.
The computer will be.
But I mean, you look, you know, cars have their cameras as you back up or you put your turn signal on, the camera comes on. So I mean, they're definitely very sophisticated and IT and internet savvy and that type of person.
What does that mean for technicians? Not to take your job, but what does that mean for technicians and
Yeah, service people.
Well, I mean, it's a different group that you're really looking for that we've probably never had before in the automotive industry. You know, because it is more or less, you know, I hate to say more electronics and diagnosing electronic type stuff. So I mean, it's a different feel, and there's, I mean, it's changed before and it'll change again. So I mean, change is good. So
it's a matter of embracing it and trying to convince. I mean, the technical schools got to be producing. Not only can they work under the hood, they have to be able to use the computer to diagnose and fix and make sure it's all running again. For a small business owner, obviously you're doing all your book work probably, and also customer database and all that kind of stuff these days?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more you can do on computers, the easier it makes everything. And it takes work to get it all put in place, as you know, the Chamber has been going through a lot of database enhancements and things with our website too. It's something that I just never see as being finished. You know, you finish one thing and then it prompts, you know, something else that you want to do or something else that you want to enhance or something new that you want to build. And I'm the type of person that constantly has a list, and you know, once you're done with the customer database, you're going to want to do, you know, something else for the store experience. I guess we have iPads in the store that we use a lot too, because even though you carry a lot of product, there's people that want to see some other things, or you know exactly what they want and you know a vendor that has it. So to be able to pull that out and work with your customer right there and show them across the counter is really nice. And then, you know, even being able to swipe credit cards and things like that. The Chamber has taken advantage of all of those things at our meetings too.
To actually have your salespeople, I mean, yeah, here's what we have in the store, but here's what we can get within a week. I never thought about that. That's And then you guys, you're an IT person.
Correct.
What does that mean for the Chamber? What all have you been involved with?
A lot of it was just data migration and getting it into a state where we can leverage it and use it for all sorts of different things. Our members have like Jennifer could have a special event coming up where she has, you know, the Valentine's Day coming up, and she wants to do a specific mailing and an offer to Chamber members. I can very easily produce mailing labels that she can use on her specific mailer and target and directly hit her fellow Chamber members. Yeah, that's one of those benefits of Chamber membership.
So I would imagine, obviously, Richfield Bloomington Honda's got their own big thing, but for small business.
But you never know. They might want to target Richfield businesses and have those employees bring their cars in for oil changes or car washes or whatever, and they could do a direct target mailing. I mean, that's again, the Chamber is here to help these businesses succeed and promote. And we're kind of the PR/marketing branch that a small business can't necessarily afford.
And that's so wonderful because I'm worried as a farmer's daughter what happens when we use the family farm. I have the same concern for losing our small business, mom and pop type organizations.
Right.
That's so important. And you know, with Richfield being small and we call ourselves the urban small town, you know, that whole concept of small business
Right.
is so important. Obviously, we need the big guys.
Absolutely.
We still want to be the guy next door or the gal next door when you come in. I mean,
Yeah.
people do love that person-to-person feeling you get. And when you lose that, I mean, it's like Jennifer said early, really that how you treat your customer, you know, knowing them by name, that makes them want to come back. So, I mean, it doesn't matter, you know, whether we have our 100 people or she's got her 10 employees, it's very important.
Customer service.
That's right.
And then there's, you know, okay, so we have the website. Then we got Facebook, which obviously is a part. And then we've got Twitter and tweeting, which. But is that becoming more a part of the business scene too, some of that?
It
Of
is for the
course,
chamber. Again, it's all about promotion and getting the word out there, and there are so many avenues to use that you have to engage the conversation, to make people know who you are. So we are on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. We do email blasts once a week, and then another email just for our members with special offerings, using all the technology we can get our hands on.
And then,
I was going to say one of the things about that technology that is so great for businesses, though, is that once you have those things in place, to actually use all of those pieces that Angie just mentioned, they're free. It's a lot different way to invest your marketing dollars, you know, and you're touching a different audience, and you can try things that you were afraid to try before because of, you know, the less investment.
well, our hour has come to an end, and this has been so great, and I don't care if it's rah-rah Richfield, that's good. So again, I just want to thank you for being with Jennifer Bornholdt of Hub Jewelry
Yes, thank
and
you.
Gordy Ecklund from Richfield Bloomington Honda and Angie Schaebauer.
There you go.
Schaebauer, there we go, of the president of the Chamber of Commerce. And so thank you so much. I know you have plenty of other things to do, if nothing else, recreational time with your family. So I really appreciate you coming tonight.
And
being
we
with
really
us.
appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, you're very welcome. And to my viewing audience, thanks for watching Inside the Issues. Good night.